After weeks of speculation, People magazine has learned that Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and Prince Harry have confirmed they will be bringing their family to the UK for the first time in 4 years. And this is a moment that many people have been waiting to see. Prince Harry and Meghan will reportedly be returning with their children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, marking a significant family moment as their children prepare to experience more of the country connected to their father's childhood and history. And this is not just another headline. This is a family moment. A father bringing his children to a place that shaped him. A mother supporting her husband as they share another part of their family's story. And two children who are growing up with the opportunity to understand where they come from. At the center of this story are two parents and their children. Prince Harry and Meghan have always been very intentional about protecting Archie and Lilibet's childhood. They have allowed them to grow away from the constant pressure and attention that comes with being connected to the royal family. And now, after years of building their life together in California, they are preparing to bring their children to the United Kingdom, a place that carries history, a place that carries memories, a place that is part of Harry's own journey. For Prince Harry, this is not just a country on a map. This is where he was born. This is where he grew up. This is where he experienced some of the most important moments of his life. And now, as a father, he has the opportunity to introduce his children to that part of his story. There is something very meaningful about that, because when we talk about family history, we often forget that behind every major public figure is simply a person with memories, a child who grew up somewhere, a person who has places that remind them of certain moments, a person who wants their own children to understand their background. And Harry is no different. Before he was a prince, before he was a husband, before he became one of the most discussed people in the world, he was simply a son. Now he is a father, and that changes everything. The arrival of Archie and Lilibet in the UK would be a new chapter, because these children have grown up in a very different environment from previous generations. They have grown up with their parents making decisions based on what they believe is best for their family. They have grown up surrounded by love, privacy, and a different pace of life. And that is something Harry and Meghan have spoken about many times. They wanted their children to have space. Space to play, space to learn, space to discover who they are. And now, this visit creates a bridge between two worlds, their life in California and their connection to the UK. A lot of people seem to forget that both things can exist at the same time. A child can grow up somewhere else and still understand their family's history. A child can have a private childhood and still know their roots. This visit also connects to one of Prince Harry's biggest passions, the Invictus Games. The Invictus Games have become one of the most important parts of Harry's public work. It is an organization built around resilience, strength, and giving wounded, injured, and sick service members and veterans a platform. And for Harry, this work has always appeared deeply personal. It is not simply a public appearance. It is not just a title-related duty. It is something he has continued to champion because of his own experiences. The idea of bringing his children into that environment is incredibly special. Imagine being a child and one day looking back and realizing that your parent created something that helped thousands of people. Imagine knowing that your father used his experiences to build something positive. That kind of legacy is not measured only by headlines. It is measured by impact. And that is something that has followed Harry's journey. The announcement of Archie and Lilibet's visit has naturally created excitement because the children have been kept mostly away from public attention. Their parents have chosen a more private approach. They have shared moments when they want to, but they have also protected their children from becoming constant subjects of public discussion. And that balance is rare. Especially in a world where every photograph, every appearance, and every small detail can become a global conversation within minutes. A child's life can become content before they even understand what a camera is. That is the reality of growing up in the public eye. And Harry knows that reality better than almost anyone. He experienced it himself. So when people ask why he and Meghan made certain choices, the answer may simply be found in their role as parents. Parents want their children to have opportunities. Parents want their children to feel safe. Parents want their children to know who they are. And this trip represents exactly that. A chance for Archie and Lilibet to create their own memories, not just hearing stories about their father's childhood, not just seeing old photographs, but actually being there, walking through places, experiencing traditions, learning about the history connected to their family. Because one day, these children will look back and understand this moment differently. They will understand that this was the moment their parents brought them closer to a part of their story, a story that includes many chapters, a story that includes change, a story that includes difficult moments, but also a story that includes love, family, and moving forward. And that is perhaps the most important part of this entire announcement. Moving forward. Because Harry and Meghan have built a life that is not simply about reacting to the past. They have built a family. They have created a home. They have created their own traditions. And now they are choosing to add another piece to that story. And as the news continues to spread, one thing becomes very clear. This moment is bigger than a simple trip, because whenever Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, make a decision involving their family, it creates a conversation about what modern family life looks like, especially when that family happens to be connected to one of the most famous institutions in the world. The attention around Archie and Lilibet's is understandable. They are children who have rarely been seen publicly. Their parents have carefully chosen what parts of their lives they share. But that privacy has allowed Archie and Lilibet to have something incredibly valuable. A childhood. A childhood where they are not constantly defined by headlines. A childhood where they are known first by their parents, their family, and the people around them. And now this UK visit gives them the opportunity to experience another side of their family story. Because for Harry, the United Kingdom will always be connected to his own memories. It is where he spent his early years. It is where he experienced moments of happiness. It is where he also experienced moments of great difficulty. Life is rarely one simple story. It is a collection of different chapters. And when Harry brings his children there, he is not just showing them buildings or locations. He is sharing pieces of himself. He is sharing where he came from. He is sharing parts of his journey. And that is something every parent understands. Parents naturally want their children to know their history. They want their children to understand their family stories. They want their children to know the people and places that helped shape them. It is part of building identity. And for Archie and Lilibet, their identity includes many different influences. They have their life in California. They have their parents' experiences. They have connections to both sides of their family. They have a story that is uniquely theirs. And this visit allows them to add another page. One of the most interesting parts of this announcement is the timing. For years, there has been endless discussion about whether Harry would bring his children to the UK. A father wants to share a place that matters to him with his children. That is the heart of it. And for Meghan, this is also a meaningful moment. She has supported Harry through so many chapters of his life. Together, they have built a family and created a life away from the environment where their relationship first became public. Meghan has often spoken about the importance of family, motherhood, and creating a home filled with love. And this moment reflects that. Because bringing children to understand their background is not about making a statement. It is about connection. It is about memories. It is about family. The Sussexes' approach to parenting has been one of the most discussed aspects of their lives. They have shown a desire to give their children experiences that feel grounded, simple moments, family moments, moments away from constant public pressure. And that is something many parents can relate to. Regardless of someone's background, most parents want the same things: for their children to feel loved, for their children to feel secure, for their children to grow into themselves, for their children to have the freedom to become who they are. And that is what makes this visit so interesting. It is not about recreating the past. It is about creating something new. Archie and Lilibet are not simply stepping into an old story. They are creating their own. They are their own people. They will have their own memories, their own experiences, their own understanding of the world. And perhaps that is the biggest difference between generations. Every generation has the opportunity to do things differently, to learn from what came before, to build something better. Prince Harry knows what it was like to grow up with enormous public attention. He knows what it was like to have private moments become public conversations. He knows the challenges that can come with being born into a very visible family. So, as a father, it makes sense that he would want to give his children a different balance, a life where they know their history without being trapped by it, a life where they understand their background without having their entire identity decided by others. And that is why this visit carries so much emotional significance, because it represents balance, it represents connection, it represents a family choosing how they want to move forward. The Invictus connection also adds another important layer. Harry's work with the Games has become part of his legacy. The organization has brought together athletes from around the world and highlighted stories of strength and determination. It has become a place where people are celebrated, not for what happened to them, but for what they continue to overcome. And that message is something Harry has consistently supported. So having his children around that environment could be a very meaningful experience. They would see their father doing something he cares deeply about. They would see the impact of his work. They would see that service can take many forms. Because legacy is not only about names or titles. Legacy is about what you leave behind, the lives you touch, the things you build, the people you help. And this is a side of Harry that has often been central to who he is. Beyond all the headlines, beyond all the debates, beyond all the opinions, there is someone who has spent years focusing on causes that matter to him. And now, he has the chance to share that with his children. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.